All right, what's up, Dodger fans? Welcome into the LA Sports Brotherhood. It's me, Ryan, here with my brother Matthew. And although we are only days removed from winning the World Series and celebrating all of that, there is no better time to look forward and think about the next roster that's going to win a World Series. And that's what we're doing here today. Any Dodger fan, any baseball observer that paid attention to the playoffs, or really just this team the entire season, knew how badly pitching was affecting this team. And we threw the most pitchers in a World Series clinching game in history, and that was out of necessity. It wasn't just like an analytics Dave Roberts choice. So what I'm getting at is we need starting pitching. We're expecting a lot of guys back healthy, but even beyond that, there's actually a pretty solid group of guys that are available free agency wise, and even in like some trade talks too that are going to be expected to be available as well. So Matt, starting pitching, are we, first question is, do we need a frontline starter, or are you fine with kind of a more middle of the pack guy? What's your thought?
I think we need a frontline starter because right now we have right now I know for sure one guy will be phenomenal and be our ace, and that's Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
Mm-hmm.
Shohei obviously can be, he was, but he's coming off second Tommy John. Glass now, don't know if he's gonna pitch. If he is pitching and Shohei's the way he was before, there's three frontline starters right there. But we don't know about those two guys, so we only have Yoshi. So yeah, I do think we need to go frontline. Also because kind of a middle of the pack guy, what would we need that for? First of all, we kind of have a lot of those guys in the minor leagues already, and I wouldn't really want to spend money on that. But second of all, I think we have probably the third best free agent who just won a championship with us in Jack Flaherty. So for me personally, I look at Burns, I look at Fried as two frontline guys. If you can't, even if you do get those, I think Flaherty has been a lot really overlooked. He was huge for us. I know he was bad in that clinching game, but he was asked to be the ace or the number two guy with Yoshi. He will not be that next year. If we have Yoshi, we get Burns, like I mentioned, Shohei Glass now. I look for Flaherty to be kind of like a 3 to 4 to 5 guy, and so for me, I have those two guys, Burns and Fried. I think those are legit like front of the line starters that could be up there with Yoshi. And then I also love to have Jack Flaherty back. Not to mention Buehler also back. So we could name like 10 guys that could pitch for the Dodgers next year.
Yeah.
For me, I want 4 to 5 guys that we know for sure will pitch, and that's not including Shohei and Glass now. Because as we know, as many names as we had this year, we're gonna get him back, we're gonna get him back. We ended up with 3 starters and we still won the World Series. So I'm looking for a frontline guy. I'm looking for these guys to get healthy. I'm also looking to bring back Flaherty and Buehler. So my question for you is there who do you think will be better than Flaherty? Like, Flaherty is one of the top arms of the offseason. Is there any guys that you think are better than him and you would target before you target Flaherty or even Buehler?
Yeah, so I think that's a very interesting question because if we're talking just purely performance, so I'm looking down because I have the list of free agents on my phone. Um, I if you asked me just to rank who would have the best season next year, regular season, I would probably say Max Fried number one, Burns number two, Snell number three, and Flaherty number four of those four guys. Yeah, I think they'll all be good, but that's probably how I'd rank it. But if you're going priority signing, like bringing onto the team, I think Flaherty's probably one, just because the point you made about him being a 3 to 5 starter is, I think, massive. Like, he was thrust into being the ace of the staff because Yoshi wasn't confirmed to be healthy enough to go. Obviously, we saw that he had the ace performance, but it was impossible to predict just because of the lack of his time to build up. I think if he can be slotted, that Flaherty that is, as a 4 or 5 starter, that would be like elite of the elite, especially with Walker coming back. But to like further the question, I actually would want Blake Snell like as a top of the rotation guy, excuse me, before any of them, because I just Dodgers are guaranteed to go to a 6-man rotation this season. Maybe even 7 with a full 6-man plus Shohei kind of getting his spot starts. They're gonna do everything in their power to not overwork these guys. And I think Snell would operate perfectly with that. I think his stuff plays the best in the playoffs because I mean that's really all we're playing for in the first place. Corbin Burns is ironically the youngest and the best performance wise, but he's thrown so many more innings than the other two guys. It's anyway, we don't have to get granular about them. But yeah, I mean, Burns, Fried, and Snell are accepted as the top three pitchers, and I would agree. So two questions. One, if it's like pick one from those three or two from the next group, what would your choice be? And also in the next group, it's kind of like Jack Flaherty, Nathan Eovaldi, Sean Manaea, Luis Severino, Yusei Kikuchi, who was actually really good with the Astros. Like that caliber of guys, Walker Buehler in there as well. Are we like? I guess we kind of mentioned that before, but so yeah, if you had to rank the top three and how much you want, or if you can get guarantee one of those guys, or two to potentially three of like the second group, what would you go with?
I'm gonna be honest. I will rank them obviously, but I genuinely I would feel good about all three of those guys. Like I do think they're all elite. I would probably go Burns. Man, Fried and Snell is tough. Like if you were to ask me who I'd want to start game one of a World Series, I'd probably pick Snell because Fried's passed in the playoffs, and just Snell just has that like that it factor.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. His stuff is there, but I think I'd still go. No, I'd go Burns, Snell, and Fried. And my take about the second group is I want Bueller and Flaherty. I wouldn't honestly. I would not even look at the Manea and the other names you said like
That's
Akuchi.
fair.
I would just take those two because to me that tier is lining up in our 3 to 4 to 5, and I just want that to be Flaherty and Bueller if I'm being honest. So we have Yoshi. We have our ace and Yoshi. I think you get a high leverage arm of those three we just said. Those are two aces. You get Bueller and Flaherty. Those are two guys for the back, the 3 to 5. And then you hope Glasnow can get healthy. You hope Shohei can perform. Maybe D May comes back. I would be my ideal offseason is you re-sign Flaherty, re-sign Bueller, get one of the three big arms. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, from pitching standpoint, absolutely. And the more I think about it, I really want them to go all in on Snell. Obviously, not like 10-year, whatever. That's not even what he's going to demand. But just the thought of his stuff, like we can go Yoshi, Shohei, Snell, top three. That is disgusting. And then you have Flaherty and Glass now, maybe. Like thinking about it is just it's really absurd. So yeah, I do also agree. Like the two from the bottom, I will say Manea is very interesting to me because his stuff is just like it plays up, and I really like the change he made. Also, he's just consistently very solid, and he would be like James Paxton was for us this year, except good, which is like a huge upgrade because Paxton ironically played a very big role in us making the World Series because he ate up so many innings, and we are still going to need a guy like that. So Flaherty has been like that before, but he has multiple injury issues, like kind of arm stuff and the back stuff, which allegedly stopped the Yankees from trading for him, which I still don't believe. But yeah, so I definitely agree with that. Any other pitching ideas? We're gonna go, I think we should go through bullpen more specifically in a different video because there's so much stuff going on. But yeah, so any
No.
last thoughts?
What's crazy to me is this is very very likely. I mean, you think about Friedman just got a whiff of what you got a taste of what the World Series feels like, and he has three top of the line guys. I mean, there's no way that three different teams will outbid the Dodgers. We got to get one of them. You know,
Yeah.
we know who Friedman is. But what's so crazy about this is we just won the World Series with starting pitching as a need, and now we get these three guys on the available. We have the ability to bring Flaherty back, Bueller back. This is a very good starting pitching free agency class. So, first of all, guys getting healthy, Shohei, hopefully Glass now, and then you add a top of the line starter. We just won the World Series with a depleted staff. This team, I mean, it really is going to be scary. Not even to mention Yoshi was hurt. Like
Yeah.
it's just insane to think about how much better we're going to be next year off a team that just dominated themselves a World Series. If you look at other than the Padres series, they dominated without a freaking rotation. It's going to be scary for the whole league, to be honest.
Yeah, I know some fans may be thinking it's a little early to get into 2025 already, which is fair, obviously, because literally just a week ago we are still playing World Series games. But that's the reason why we're doing this right now, because like Matt, you just said, the potential for next year's team is somehow infinitely higher than we had this year. And I think this year overall, I mentioned it in the World Series reaction that we had. It was probably the best roster Friedman's ever constructed, maybe aside from 2021 before the injuries. And we have the like everything is in our hands to retain everyone we want and significantly upgrade at multiple positions with money that we have to spend. And I'm just very grateful to be a fan of a team that's in this position. And yeah, I just love it. Go Dodgers. Let us know in the comments what you would do if you even want Flaherty back. That's definitely another big question for the fan base, I think. And if you had Andrew Freeman's job, what moves would you make? Let us know. Thanks for watching. Go Dodgers. See ya.